Hello, everyone. My name is Jon Brenneman, for those who didn't know, and I wanted to thank everyone for joining us today. I'm in my stateroom here on Royal Caribbean's Explorer of the Seas. We're getting ready to depart Barbados after a lovely day here. This is the 5th day of my cruise. We've got a stop tomorrow in St. Martin, and then we disembark in San Juan on Sunday, and I fly home to Kansas City, where I hear it is a bit chilly and snow in the forecast. Joined today by Abe Hughes, my good friend, business development manager with Royal Caribbean. Some of you may recognize Abe. Before he moved shoreside, he was a former cruise director with Royal Caribbean, so you might have seen him on one of your previous cruises. But we're really happy to have Abe with us. He spent motivation as we kind of go through this. So presentation today is going to take place in about personal experience on the 3 cruises I've been on in the last 6 months. Kind of gave you guys some kind of insights in what you can expect when you're cruising. Abe is then going to talk more about Royal Caribbean, kind of more on the actual end of the changes that they have made on board. And then we are going to end it with Q&A to answer any questions you might have. I see the pictures popped up. I am on this cruise with my daughter. She's a freshman in college, so she's on Christmas break. So we decided that we would get out and about. She's going to school in Chicago, so we thought we'd get some warm weather. So the picture on the left, that is actually the Explorer of the Seas behind us. We have been doing a bit adventurous excursions. That would have been for day 1, where we did introduction to scuba diving. We've also rented a little motorboat. We've done snorkeling. We've done zip lining. So just tons of things to do, having a great time. Picture on the right, that's one of the evenings where we did specialty dining. That is Azumi, which is the sushi Japanese fare restaurant. Just a couple of pictures of us on board. One thing before I kind of get started, I always like to touch base on Abe in particular, but myself at the end is also going to talk about some of the MOAA special offers we have, MOAA group departures, amenities, and those types of things. And we always want to let you know that any of the MOAA discounts or amenities that we talk about are available to both members and any friends and family that you would bring with you. So regardless of how many guests you can bring as many as you want. Any of the specials we talk about today, or even anything you see in Retired Officer Magazine, or you see online, or if you just give us a call or drop us an email and say, hey, I'm looking at going, on this, Alaska cruise or Europe or whatever it might be, anything that we quote you as a MOAA member, you can share those savings and share those amenities with any of your friends and family who may want to join you. So with that being said, as I mentioned, I've been on 3 cruises the past 6 months. The first one I went on was a Mississippi River cruise that sailed from Memphis to New Orleans. This was a MOAA signature group. For those of you who may not be familiar, the signature groups are kind of what I like to call groups on steroids. And that's because it's like a normal group where it's your opportunity to sail with other MOAA members, but where we actually, in effect, purchase the entire ship. Everyone on board will be a MOAA member or a MOAA guest, and then MOAA leadership and MOAA staff are on board to ensure that everyone has a stress-free time. So that cruise was actually in July. It was within the states, so there was no testing that was required either to board or disembark. And as you may recall, cases were really down in the summer, which they are anticipating is going to be the case again this year. COVID, like most flus that we've had, is somewhat seasonal. So that cruise really went off without any hitches. No one on board had any symptoms. No one tested positive. Really, and I've talked about this, I know, in some other webinars, but really it was not only a vacation, it was almost a vacation from COVID, because once you got on the ship, you know, we had cocktail parties and dinner and shows and stuff like that, and COVID never came up. It was really just a phenomenal cruise, and those signature groups are always the highest rated trips we do every year anyway. So that was kind of unique. It was in the summer. It was just in the United States. So the first cruise I went on, and actually the first time I've left the country since prior to, I guess it would be what we want to say, February or March of 2020, is I did a Bahamas cruise. It was on Royal Caribbean on the Adventure of the Seas. It was myself, my daughter, my wife, and one of my daughter's friends. So the four of us went. And the idea was we were going to go on a cruise. We typically take a cruise vacation as a family every year. Hadn't been on one, obviously, in 2020, so we wanted to do one before Allie went off to school. So it was departing from the Bahamas, so it was required that we were tested prior to leaving the United States to go into the Bahamas. Simple enough for those of you who haven't been tested. In Kansas City, which is where we live, they just do them drive-through. You just go through drive-through, and then they send you an email with your results, or they text them to you. So anyway, everyone was tested. The ship wasn't even half full, which was a great experience, just because there was no crowds. There was never a wait to do anything. If you wanted to go to specialty dining, you didn't have to do it in advance. And I know the very first thing I told Abe when I get back, because Abe and I talked and he wanted to know how the cruise went, is I mentioned to him it was the best Royal Caribbean cruise I'd ever been on. In particular, the food was the best food I've ever had on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship. And Abe mentioned that, you know, they'd invested $70 million, and he may talk more about this, but they've made a huge investment on the onboard cuisine. And I think that was part of it. But the service on the ship was unbelievable. You could tell how happy everyone was to be back to doing their job, and that we're happy that you were on board. And I know it sounds funny, but those of us that were on board, it's almost as though you felt like you were an explorer because of the way everyone, you know, because we were out there sailing when a lot of people weren't. But anyway, I think you could really taste the passion or the love for what they do and the food that the chefs were putting out in the product. So I'm sure a lot of it was the investment in it, but really every meal was an absolute delight. The service in the dining room or cabin steward, everywhere on the ship, everyone you met was just in the greatest mood. I think we were all so happy to be out there sailing again. It was just such a phenomenal experience that we typically do one vacation a year that's in the summer, but we all had such a good time that my daughter and I decided that when she was home for Christmas break, the two of us would just get away for a quick week as well. She goes back to school in a week from now, so it was just dad and daughter chance to get out and about and spend some really quality time together. I would say if she wasn't here, I would be scuba diving and zip lining and all the things we're doing, but it's so great to have her here doing it. But anyway, so back to the August cruise. We did leave the United States, and currently, and at that time, the United States required a negative test to get back into the country. That requirement, I'm sure at some point in the future will go away, but it is current, and it was at the time. Royal Caribbean took care of everything. It was so fast and easy. There was no charge to us to do it. And basically what you do is you could set up an appointment, but we basically just, you know, we were out and about one day. They were doing it in one of the dining rooms, so we just went by. You went in, you showed them a photo ID and your sail card, and they did the test, and then they actually emailed you the results, and they also printed it off because when you go to the airport to fly home, so when we got to the airport there in Nassau, you know, they asked for our passport and they asked for our negative tests. And so we actually had the printout forms already, so we just handed them those, flew home without incident. They did test everyone on that cruise, and just like the July cruise, not a single person on that cruise tested positive. So that brings us to the Explorer, where we are today. As I mentioned, we boarded on Sunday. The San Juan does require that you test, so we did get a test prior to flying to San Juan when we got to the airport. After we got our bags, they actually have you go through a little security check thing. They do testing at the airport. So, I mean, I'm not that much of a gambler to actually fly to San Juan before I'm tested, but you could have tested at the airport. They do allow you in the country if you've previously had COVID, whatever the natural immunity, I guess, as they say. But anyway, so breezed right through that, grabbed an Uber to the ship. Once again, this sailing isn't half full. About half full, I guess. No lines to board the ship. Got right on the ship. And Abe might be able to answer this more directly. When we were on the adventure in August, the muster drill, and a lot of you I know have been on a lot of cruises like me, and you know the muster drill is somewhat of an inconvenience. Obviously, safety is important. But anyway, on the adventure, we watched a video on our phone, and then we just went by where our muster station was and checked in, so we knew where our muster station was. So it wasn't the bring everybody in a room, you know, take a half hour out of your day and shut everything down. On the Explorer, it was slightly different. When we got on the ship, so you actually go through security and you step on the ship, but you're on the promenade, so you haven't actually, I guess, gone inside yet. They did a real quick muster drill right then and there. So they kind of went through, you know, kind of what you hear in the muster drill of the 7 short and the 1 long kind of thing. Showed you how to put on a life jacket and you were done. So it was a real welcome to not, you know, your very first day on board, you're unpacking, everything shuts down, and then file into a room and do the muster drill. So that was really nice. One thing I wanted to mention on this cruise that was so obvious on this one, and I'm sure it was on the other one, but that was a few months ago, is the fresh air in your rooms. And it was interesting to learn that the ventilation systems they have on here, and all the cruise lines have the new ventilation systems on here, so you're safer in a cruise than you are in a hotel, because they're like level 37 filtration systems, and I think Abe's going to talk about this, but it filters out anything as small as 1 micron, so there's no chance of cross-contamination from one cabin to another or whatever. But the ventilation systems also bring in fresh air as they're filtering the air that's already in your system, and it's really noticeable in your room. One of the things, you know, if you've ever taken a hot shower, you get out, you know, all the mirrors in your room are kind of steamy. It's unbelievable how quickly, with the ventilation that's going the entire time, how that just dissipates. And that fresh air kind of ventilation is throughout the ship. So it's noticeable, just the fresh air that you have everywhere. Once again, the food's stellar. The people are great. It's really just been a wonderful cruise. A couple of people have sent me questions in advance of this, and I know we're doing the Q&A at the end, but kind of as I talk to ship, I was just going to touch on this. And somebody asked me about live music, and then somebody else asked me about the entertainment, the shows, and those types of things. And as far as I can tell, all of the shows are still going on, and all the venues are open for entertainment. I think I looked earlier, you know, at the program, and I doubt you can read this when I hold it up, but you know, you got your daily program. There's like 6 or 7 places tonight that have live music. There's ballroom dancing. There's, of course, the shows. There's movies. So all the entertainment that you would expect on any cruise is still going on. The only real 2 places I've seen any change in the onboard because of the reduced capacity. And by the way, for those of you who are looking at going this summer is going to be sailing at near full capacity again, and the expectation is that's going to be the new normal. So this may not apply, but I know some of you are sailing. You know, one person mentioned to me they were sailing on January 23rd. So dining, since the ship is only half full, there are reduced dining dining times. For example, my daughter and I are anytime dining. So anytime dining on this sailing is from 7:15 to 9:30. I think it's normally 5:30 to 10, if I remember correctly. And then the specialty restaurants, a couple of them, Izumi and Chef's Table, are only open 5 nights instead of the usual 7. But I'm going to tell you, you don't even notice it. When we go to dinner, there's never a wait to get a table. We have the same table every night, even though we're on anytime. So we have Carol and John who've been helping us this week. They've been phenomenal. So really, there's really nothing you notice on board. To me, the biggest thing I notice when I'm on board, and I mentioned the fresh air, is there's no lines for anything. I mean, if we decided we wanted to do like chops this evening, we could get into chops this evening, which is nice. And then I wanted to talk about the app, because I know some of you might have sailed when they had the app before, but what a great benefit that is to have now. So when you sail on Royal Caribbean now, if you haven't done it recently, there's actually an app you download on your phone, and everything is on your phone. You really don't even need a printout of your daily itinerary, because you can go in and there's tabs. You can book shore excursions, you can book spa, you can book specialty dining and everything right on your phone. So you just go on your phone and you decide, you know, oh, tomorrow we want to do a beach day. You can just go in, 2 clicks on your phone, and that's booked, instead of, you know, having to go wait in line at a short desk. Same thing with spa or specialty dining, which is great. One of the buttons I think is on my favorite is, you know, on there, at any time you can click a button on dining, which is Dine Now, and it will show you all the venues that are open and available to you. So room service is always on that list, but right now, if I click Dine Now, it would pull up and tell me where I could go. I can go to Windjammer, and I can go to Promenade, and I can go to Johnny Rockets, and I can go here and I can go there, of all my options. So, because, you know, the biggest concern with sailing always is that people are not going to get enough to eat. So they've made it even simpler now with the Now button on them, so you can always find what restaurants are available. But as I said, anytime you want, you can look and see, you know, what activities are going on today or any day in the sailing. And the other great thing about dining, and my daughter has used this a lot when we talked about maybe going to Izumi, which is the picture we were doing, she actually looked and all the menus are there. So she looked at the menu for dinner every night that we're on the cruise, and we decided to go to Izumi Wednesday night because that's the menu that she least liked out of all the menus in the main dining room. So you can actually look ahead, you know, either for planning or just curiosity, you know, when you're on that shuttle bus back from the bus and you're talking about dinner, which, by the way, I'm doing as soon as this webinar is over, is you can already go, oh, you know, I got to get the tenderloin, and tonight's lobster night, and all that other fun stuff. So the other thing I would just wanted to make sure I mentioned was, and Abe may talk about this as well, is the app is, to me, such a great feature. You don't have to have an internet package to use it on the ship. So everyone who gets on board has access to it, free of charge. As I mentioned, everything's there, all the tabs. It even has a calendar. So as you book spa and shore excursions and specialty dining, each day there's a little calendar that pulls up on your phone, and it has a schedule for you and help keep you informed, you know, of what you've got. Like, oh, tomorrow you have this excursion, or in an hour you have this dining. So another great thing that Royal Caribbean is offering now that some of you may not have kind of experienced. So that's kind of my quick rundown on Royal Caribbean and sailing now. As I said, I'm going to turn it over to Abe, who's got a lot of information he's going to talk to people about. We do have a chat section where you can start putting your questions in now. I will try answering a couple if they pop up while Abe's going through everything that's going on at Royal Caribbean. In addition, not only just what's going on at Royal Caribbean, we want to make sure we share with you the exclusive MOAA program we have that will save you hundreds of dollars on your next MOAA cruise. And then I'm going to talk a little bit before we do Q&A just about some of the group opportunities we have and some of the special opportunities we have for single travelers. And then we'll answer your questions up until the point that we get too far away from shore that I lose internet. So anyway, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce and turn it over to Abe Hughes, my good friend with Royal Caribbean. So Abe, take it away.
Thanks, John. And I tell you, you covered about all of it. I think I don't know what else I need to cover. No, I did.
There we go. What are the questions?
We're all done. Go to dinner. You're making us jealous with this lobster and prime rib talk. My gosh. No, it's great to be here. Great to talk.
Lobster and tenderloin, but yes.
Oh gosh, God forbid. Gotta have the tenderloin. That's awesome. So I'm glad that you're having a great time, and thank you for inviting me to talk to the MOAA members. As John said, I'm Abe Hughes. I was a cruise director on board our ships for about 16 years. Just a few years ago, I transitioned over to the BDM side and the sales side, working with our travel partners. Really, we at Royal Caribbean believe that great vacation experiences begin with great travel partners, and MOAA Vacations obviously does just that for you, making sure that your vacations are worry-free, hassle-free, and just filled with the adventures that you certainly deserve. And adventure is definitely the theme of what has been going on really in the last 6 or 7 months, because adventure is back. Due to the pandemic, Royal Caribbean did shut down operations for about 14 months or so. And in July of this last year, as a matter of fact, that's a photo that you see there is the Freedom of the Seas, 4th of July at our private island, perfect day at Coco Cay. And that adventure is back is exactly what we're excited about in welcoming all of our guests back on board the ship. Now, how did we do it? Well, healthy ships, happy guests. We have had over 500,000 guests sail safely over the last 6 months. 21 of our 25 ships are back at sea. And how did we do it? Well, there's a number of different layers. The number one goal from Royal Caribbean is making sure that our ships are safer than Main Street USA, safer than your environment at home and your communities themselves. All guests 12 years of age and up are required to be vaccinated. And this is at this point in time. This is for sailings through March 31st. And as things evolve, we will, of course, be changing our policies to fit accordingly. Testing before the sailing, anybody 2 years of age and up are required to have a negative test, of course, and 100% of our crew are vaccinated, plus being tested on a regular basis. So the number one goal is sort of making sure that the virus never gets on board the ship. And from there, we have a number of different areas that we do that we've enhanced. Number one, obviously, flexibility when you need it, making sure that we know that there's a lot of nuance when it comes to cruising and kind of tailoring your cruise specifically to you and your situation. We'll get you home in any scenario. That is a big one, because at the beginning of the pandemic, really all of our Crown and Anchor members especially had given us the sentiment of, you know, we want to cruise, we just don't want to be stuck on a ship for 14 days. Because we all remember the news stories in early 2020 of passengers being stuck on board ships for 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time. And to be fair, the other cruise lines and none of us knew what this virus was, what it did, et cetera, et cetera. But long story short, hindsight being 2020, that was the wrong thing to do. Keeping people on board a ship is not the right thing to do. So depending on what happens in the situation, you'll have a timely return home in any scenario. Now, we, like I said, has sailed over 500,000 people as Royal Caribbean, but Royal Caribbean Group, our parent company as a whole, we've sailed 1.1 million guests since we have returned sailing. And I wanted to share that because if you were to say that we have not had 0 COVID cases on board our ship, that would be a lie, because we have had cases on board. As a matter of fact, if you were to actually calculate out of the 1.1 million guests that we've had on board the ship, we have had, I hope you're ready for this one, 0.1% of our guests. It's like 0.162% or 165% of guests. Now, if you were to compare that to stateside, here in the United States, the state of Georgia, I believe, was the highest at 38%, and Alaska was the lowest at around 9.5 or 9.7% of positive cases. But we are not 38%, not 10%, we are 0.1%, 1/10 of 1%. So our goal of making it safer than Main Street USA is definitely coming through, and really making sure that our crew and our guests are healthy and continue going on. Medical grade cleaning standards, and that's sort of something that we've always been doing on the cruises. Many of you know, you've sailed in the past, that cruise lines themselves take exceptional efforts when it comes to the health and cleaning. 100% fresh filtered air, that is one part that Jon had mentioned, and that is very much true. It's a circulation of air from fresh ocean air through your staterooms, through all the public venues. And funny enough, and this might be me kind of geeking out a little bit, knowing a lot about ships working on board, is the way that a ship is built, it's sort of like Lego blocks. And after this presentation, Google ship building and cruise ship building and see how it is. And you'll notice that all these ships are put together block by block, piece by piece. And the reason why it's done this way and the reason why our air filtration system is so incredible is not necessarily for any form of a pandemic, it's actually because of our fire suppression systems on board the ship. Because the most dangerous thing on any ship at sea, it's not a virus and it's not wind and waves, it's fire and fire prevention, because we can't just call 911 and have the fire brigade come out. So our ships are designed in a very segmented area, and every single stateroom itself has its own airflow and air system. So smoke and oxygen doesn't get into the ventilation system and fires spread throughout and things like that. So we've taken our ship designs through fire suppression and things like that, and we've really enhanced them with the airflow and obviously all the high-tech filters that are available, and making sure that your air is as crisp and clean as it possibly can be, and there is no cross contamination from room to room to room and venue to venue and things like that. So it's really remarkable. We've got a lot of resources I'm not going to totally bore you with here this afternoon, but really, really great stuff. And then we've also upgraded our medical care facilities and our care teams on board. As a matter of fact, our just staffing alone, I think we've doubled or tripled on most of our ships along the way. So you're going to be well taken care of. But along with that, we also want to make sure that people are cruising with confidence. And as a matter of fact, any cruises that have been booked now all the way through March 31st. You can cancel up to 48 hours before you sail, and you get a future cruise credit, good for 12 or more months. And this is for all active reservations booked before March 31st and for sailings departing before September 30th of this time. So we really have a lot of flexibility as we move forward. And if you did have any questions, again, you can certainly type those into the question box, and we'll be happy to address those along the way. Now, let's get on to the fun stuff. Let's talk about Royal Caribbean and sort of the cruising lifestyle in general, because we are known for having the most incredible ships, the most environmentally friendly, technologically advanced cruise ships in the entire world. We have everything from our largest Oasis class ships, which are technically speaking the largest ships in the world. But I always say there's no better place to socially distance than the world's largest cruise ships, because there is just that much room, along with all the way down to our Vision class and our Radiance class ships, which are a little bit more of a boutique style, intimate, 2,000 passenger ships that are truly built for global destinations and cruising, which we'll talk about in just a couple of minutes. Things that we're known for, no matter what ship that you're on, of course, is going to be the entertainment on board the ship, from not just Broadway style shows, but full-blown Broadway productions such as Mamma Mia and Hairspray and Grease, and West End hits like We Will Rock You and a whole lot more. On any given night in the Royal Theater, you will be wowed. But it's not just in the main theater on the stage, but we're the only ships that have the largest aquatic outdoor amphitheater called the Aqua Theater on the back of our Oasis class ships. We have our Studio B ice skating rink with world-class ice skaters, 270, the music hall with live music and dancing and everything across the board, the entertainment. We've been voted best in entertainment and cruise lines for years on end, consecutively. Signature activities, really for the young and the young at heart, everything from your traditional enriching activities all the way through to your thrill-seeking activities, such as rock climbing and indoor skydiving and bumper cars and roller skating. It's we got a little bit of everything on all of our ships. John touched on the dining, which we are incredibly proud of our dining. We have invested several millions of dollars into our dining experience. What's the old saying? There's the way to get to the heart is through the stomach. Well, I tell you, the dining experiences are endless, and we're all about options at Royal Caribbean, whether there's the dozens of complimentary options on our ships or some of the specialty dining experiences in some of our specialty restaurants. You will not go hungry at any point in time. Our lounges and nightlife are really suited and customized for the type of mood that you're in, whether you want to have a little jazz on 4, that Chicago-inspired Prohibition era inspired jazz club to our bamboo room, which is the big tropical room with fun music and cocktails and so much more. We have traditional experiences all the way through to some of the best nightclubs in the world at sea. Kids and teens, let's touch on them. We are a multi-generational cruise line. We're a family cruise line as well. We want to make sure that it's not just mom and dad having a great time, but also grandma and grandpa, all the way down to the youngest kids on board. All of our ships have award-winning Adventure Ocean program that we just know that when the kids are happy, the parents and the grandparents are exceptionally happy along the way. Spa and Fitness Center, all of our ships have them for you to relax, enjoy, indulge in a little bit of a pampering, if you will. Next generation accommodations from solo staterooms, some of the single studio cabins, all the way to multifamily suites, 4-bedroom, 16-passenger. If you really love your family, I don't think I could have my entire family, an extended family, in a 16-passenger cabin, but there are options along the way. Private destinations, which we'll touch on in a moment with our private islands, such as Perfect Day at Coco Cay and Labadee. Pools, outdoors amenities, it's fun in the sun in so many of the destinations of the world that we go, and there's always something for everyone out there. And with our world-class ships, our incredible entertainment, the dining and the experiences on board the ship, whether you're on the ship for just a day or two or you're sailing all around the world, the one thing that people come home with and what they truly remember each and every cruise is the unsurpassed service of our crew members. It's the men and women that make your overall cruise vacation experience such an amazing one, going above and beyond, and what we say, delivering the wow to all of our guests and the millions that sail with us each and every year. Now, when it comes to destinations, we are really beyond destinations. Yes, our name is Royal Caribbean, but we go far beyond the Caribbean. Over 300 destinations around the world, 6 different continents, 30 different home ports, which I think is exceptionally important when it comes to the destinations in where you may be. If you live here in the Midwest, you can kind of fly easily down to Florida, drive down to Texas, fly out to the Northeast. We have got destinations, and our ships leave from Bayonne, New Jersey, Baltimore, Maryland, down the coast, all the major ports throughout Florida and Texas, even on the West Coast. Then we go up to Alaska, we sail over in Europe, we sail around Australia, New Zealand. We go everywhere, folks. So just because our name is Royal Caribbean, think of us obviously for beyond that. Talking about our 2 private destinations, these are exclusive destinations only for Royal Caribbean ships. No other ships, no other guests are allowed on. And that is our private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay in the Bahamas. And then in Labadee, which is on the north coast of Haiti, a beautiful peninsula. We've been going there since the mid-'80s. And then the other part to touch on is 3,000 plus global shore excursions, because once we hit land, what are we going to do? Well, it's all about adventure. It's all about seeing. And whether it's a culturally immersive type of a shore excursion, hopping on a bus, doing some city tours, exploring the ruins of the 7 wonders of the world, or you want to go zip lining across the world's longest zip line over water, we can take you there, and there is something out there for everyone. I did want to mention, along with destinations, this is truly something special, and it was just announced in the last couple of months. It is the Ultimate World Cruise. It's 2023 and 2024, so it doesn't leave till next year. And this is something that Royal Caribbean, we are taking our world cruise to the next level. Many world cruises are 100 days, maybe 200 days. Ours are 274 nights, 7 continents, 60 countries, over 150 destinations with 57 new ports, 4 expeditions, which I'll talk about in just a second, going to 11 wonders of the world. It's on board Serenade of the Seas, and that goes from December 10th, 2023 through September 10th, 2024. So if you want to hop on one of our ships for nearly a year, it will take you everywhere. And I tell you, start checking things off of your bucket list right here, because there are 4 different expeditions. The first one is the Round the Horn, Americas and Antarctica. By the way, I have another screen over here, so that's why I'm looking. I can see it a little bit better. The Round the Horn Americas and Antarctica, it leaves from Miami in December 2023. It hits up again, the 11 wonders of the world, Chichen in Cozumel, Christ the Redeemer, Rio de Janeiro, Iguazu Falls in Argentina and Brazil, Machu Picchu in Peru, and cruising on up to California. The next leg of the expedition is the Wonders of Asia and Pacific from February 11th to May 9th. This is 40 destinations, 87 nights. Oh, by the way, those 4 ports on the first leg, that was just the wonders of the world. There were 36 destinations that you'll be going to over the course of 64 nights, some of which are even overnights as well. The Wonders of Asia and the Pacific head through and go all the way through Asia, the Far East, and the Great Barrier Reef in Australia and New Zealand, cruising through India and visiting the Taj Mahal. The next leg of the journey is Middle East Treasures and the Marvels of the Med expedition, 44 destinations, 63 nights going through, and then the final leg of the journey, the Capitals of Culture, going July 10th to ending it back in Miami September 10th. 40 destinations, 63 nights, all through Europe, all through the Baltic, even hitting up exotic destinations, northern, the Arctic Circle, northern Norway and Iceland and Greenland, and I mean these are just incredible destinations along the way. This is a much different cruise than a traditional Royal Caribbean cruise that you may have gone on. It's very inclusive in the world that beverage packages and internet and laundry service and things like that are included. For any of our Crown and Anchor members, if you're platinum and above, there are actually complimentary shore excursions. I can't even say complimentary; they're built in. It's about an $11,000 package put together, but it's tours to all of the major wonders of the world, exclusive for our Crown and Anchor members. There are things like business class air to and from the ports. There's a big welcome party and huge event happening to kick off the cruise itself. And I tell you, this is really something else. And as a matter of fact, John may touch on it a bit, but there's already been a couple of MOAA members that have signed up for this, so you can join them along with it as well. Touching base, and this is just a brief one on our January promotions, 30% off of all guests, up to $150 in instant savings. But we also have a lot of bonuses coming along. Crown and Anchor members, our loyal members, receive up to $50 in onboard credit. There's reduced airfare. There's if you have a future cruise credit, which many of you do from previous canceled cruises, you can redeem that and receive an extra $100 in onboard credit. There's additional upgrades and things like that. But really, why many of you are here and why you take advantage of MOAA Vacations is the exclusive rates available for MOAA members. And we have over 700 departures that are available through these, around 40 or 50 of them every single month. There is just an incredible options for you. It's everything from the Caribbean through some of our global ones, and this was highlighted that in the last newsletter. Just to give you an example, a couple of great savings. Let's use well, we can use the top one. It's not even the biggest savings, but a 7-night Scandinavia and Russia sailing June 26th. We have staterooms currently around, and this was done just a bit ago, so it might have gone up since then, but when this was ran, it was $989 per person, and the MOAA rate is $622 per person, or better yet, the Western Med on the 3rd of July, currently selling over $2,479 per person, and MOAA has it set up at $1,169. This is limited for availability, but it is available, and just contact MOAA Vacations for that. And the neat thing is the deposits themselves are refundable at starting at just $100 per person for shorter itineraries to around $200, $250 for longer itineraries. And the sailings themselves are also eligible for a $50 per stateroom onboard credit for a little added spending money along the way. John, that's a little bit that I have, and I know we have a lot more for MOAA members as well.